Busy time in the world of ODP. We talk all things Boys National Championships with Jack Kocur, plus some close calls in women's college water polo and much more coming up on a brand new Counterattack. Hey everyone, Greg Mescall here. Thanks for joining us on the Counterattack right here on Overnght and USA Water Polo. A lot of ODP business to get to. First, the ODP Girls California Evaluation Event taking place this past weekend. If you couldn't watch live, check out on-demand availability, courtesy of our friends at Game On Live Studio. Goals, they'll be busy. They're at the ODP Boys National Championship. That's coming up this weekend in the San Diego area. A lot of great venues. Chula Vista, National City, Coronado, all playing host. Best of luck to all the athletes, coaches, referees, staff headed down San Diego way for the ODP Boys National Championship. We'll have highlights next week here on the show. We'll also be sharing information at usawaterpolo.org on selections as they are announced. Later in the show, we talk with Jack Kocur, so heavily involved, academy director on the boys' side, men's junior national team, head coach, has been around the sport for a long time. He gives us a little preview of the ODP Boys National Championships and what to look for ahead of a huge weekend for so many athletes that have been working super hard all the way back to August. Now let's talk women's college water polo. We are in the heart of conference play. A lot of pivotal matchups for whatever reason on the schedule this past weekend. You saw a lot of games that were perhaps previews of the conference championship finale, certainly rematches of great conference championship title bouts we've seen in the past. We start first back east. Check out some of the highlights. Harvard and Princeton getting together, and this one going the way of the Crimson getting the big dub.
Looking for the first goal of the game. Odia sets it up off the water inside. Good center defense. Pioven swings it once more. No attempt on the backhand. Reset, 10 seconds to shoot. Off the water and good. The Crimson get that ball back. One-on-one now. Looking for the look inside. They get it. Heffelfinger for the attempt. Right back to the top. Skip and score. Back to Odia. Inside, blocked in the hands of the Crimson. Berkman had it inside and a score. Pioven. Heffelfinger again. Swings it to Gilbert. Inside. Looks for the dagger. She gets it. Petra Clem.
And now on to our college scoreboard. Well, to the MAC, how many times have Marist and Wagner met for the title? This time the Red Foxes take it 7-6. Big West, almost annually, Hawaii and UC Irvine going for the championship. Long Beach State would contest otherwise, but in this meeting, the Rainbow Wahine get the win, 10-9. GCC, LMU, Fresno State, they've met the last couple of years, and this time LMU gets the win. And then SCIAC, remember the winner there, an opportunity to host the Division III Women's National Championship. Pomona Pitzer edging Claremont Mud Scripps 12-11. And now keep it moving on to girls high school water polo. Last week we told you all about the sectional champs in Southern California. Now regional action taking place, and congratulations to Mater Dei winning Division I, La Jolla taking Division II, and Birmingham taking Division III in the CIF state regional competitions. And now on to our big conversation here on the Counterattack, again with the ODP Boys National Championships coming up this weekend. No better guy to talk to than Jack Kocur. We caught up with Jack last year after the Boys ODP National Championships for kind of a recap. This time we checked in for a preview, what to look for. And if you're one of the athletes that's taking part this weekend, you want to hear some of the things Jack has to say, give some good advice for how to stand out as you blend together on your zone team at this critical competition. Take a listen. Our latest big conversation here on the Counterattack, welcoming back a familiar guest, Jack Kocur, head of the Academy Junior National Team. We're talking about it before we started. I don't know how you keep all the water polo straight. We appreciate everything you're doing, and thanks for being here. Oaks Christian as well, another stellar season. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. I'm excited for the weekend. I'm excited for this year and what it brings to all the athletes and coaches out there.
Now, Jack, we talked around this time last year after ODP Boys National Championships as kind of a recap. This time around, we're chatting leading in, right? It's coming up this weekend in San Diego, Chula Vista, National City, Coronado playing host. Let's just kind of look big picture at this weekend, and then we'll kind of roll it back for people that might not be familiar with how you might get to this point. But Big picture. Tell me about some of the excitement you have going into this weekend. The 3 different age levels competing, and it's really the culmination for so many athletes who've been working hard for a long time.
Some fun facts on this weekend. There's 35 states being represented from athletes around the country, which is phenomenal. It's probably our biggest participation of different states being represented. Then you got 59 teams. Never had that many teams into the ODP championships on the boys side, with over 800 athletes participating. When you think about 800 athletes participating from the development side to the youth side of this sport, it is going to captivate from athletes that are fighting for a world championship spot, roster spot, to kids that are trying to get into the bubble for the very first time, that, hey, this is my first time trying ODP. I just want something different outside of what my high school or club program provides. So there's so many different great values that it offers at different perspectives of families and athletes. And then we'll have over 125 coaches representing the country, all coaching these zone coaches. You have 1 to 2 coaches per age group. And then you got about 15 to 16 pipeline coaches that are representing the national team. That'll be there evaluating these athletes, evaluating the coaches, so that maybe we bring on new coaches in the future. And then, obviously there's 25, which is pretty remarkable. I would say at least 25 collegiate programs are going to be represented at the youth age and the cadet age, looking at their prospects, student athletes that they're going to be looking at, and hopefully in the near future. So again, the value that this offers, it's vast to each family's member of what they are looking for, and we're just hoping that we give that value to those families and athletes.
Yeah, you bring up such an important point there. I think sometimes, hey, the word Olympic is in the name, right? So sometimes we kind of get caught up a bit in the ultimate end goal for the percent of 1%, right, of the kid that's going to make it all the way to the end and represent Team USA at the Olympic Games. That isn't the reality for so many people that are extremely talented. And so you hit on it, right? This provides a lot of opportunities for a lot of athletes at different places. And I think we see it time and time again. I know I see it with every college game, right? There are so many kids that elevated their skills through this program to then get to that next level that they wanted to be at.
Or use the program as a motivation. They didn't quite make a roster or was released at this date versus this date. And then they put their head down and grind it out. And all of a sudden they become these great collegiate athletes that are possibly making and competing for the junior worlds at 20 and unders, if not the senior worlds. And that's happened time and time again inside of our own program, where we select these great athletes and they go all the way through. And then we have some athletes that they didn't hit their physical maturity or their mental maturity yet at that age. And so it's a great thing to just see these vast varieties of athletes that coming through at different ages and really maturing at different times.
We're talking with Jack Kocur, head of the ODP Boys National Championships. After this, the next step for athletes awaiting to find out their potential role in NTSC. And then, of course, should there be summer competition travel. Let's wind it back the other way, the start of this ODP season, if you will. I think those that are familiar a bit with the program understand that we start with camps back in August, September. But take us through kind of the general journey for an athlete that starts with ODP and how they end up to where we're at this weekend.
So local zones run their own camps, and they run anywhere from 2 to 3 camps. Sometimes it's a 1-day thing or a 3-day event, depending on where they are around the country. This does start, like you said, in August, and there's about 85 to 100 different camps that the USA Water Polo is putting on for all the zones. And then also you go from like the regionals in Texas. You can also have the academies that we represent from previous athletes from the last years that made some selections. So this is a 7-month process. I know we get criticized sometimes, like, how do you evaluate talent in 2 days? And it's not done in 2 days. It's literally done in a 7-month process, as well as you're also looking at high school tournaments. We got most of our pipeline coaches are high school coaches, and so they're on deck at these high school tournaments. They're on deck with the club tournaments. So the evaluation process doesn't happen in 1 to 2 days. It literally is happening not only from the years in the past of these athletes, but also the 7th month, just eyes on these players for 7 months and evaluating. So it is a long journey for some of these kids. It's going to continue to be a long journey. Summer Worlds this summer. We have Cadet Worlds, Youth Worlds this summer, which is basically the pinnacle of what we're trying to do inside the pipeline and getting on the podium. I think we're very close with that youth level and cadet level to matching what the junior world level has done in the last two tournaments. So hopefully we can continue to prosper in this, and also, again, give different values to different athletes at where they are in their career.
One additional element that has been added to the schedule, the California evaluation event, in addition to the regional competition for those outside of California. How did that event provide more evaluation opportunities? And tell us a bit more about the genesis of that and how it's blended into the rest of this calendar.
Yeah, so you have that Texas Regionals, which has been phenomenal for the out-of-state California kids. And then also this year, the first time we've actually put it back together with all the California kids coming together and doing a regional evaluation. What it does, it just allows more athletes to showcase their talents. It also allows the athletes to have development opportunities and to be seen by different coaches. And then it also, I think we need to get to a different umbrella where we're giving more opportunities to outside the state of California, and we really branch out and give them not just one regionals. Maybe there's a chance we can give them more skills and drills and clinics and stuff, and send pipeline coaches out there to spread the wealth of the knowledge of the water polo that we do have, and we're grateful to have enough here in California.
ODP Boys National Championship is coming up. Don't forget live coverage all weekend with our friends at Goals Game On Live Studio. They just had the girls' evaluation event that wrapped up this past weekend. I say those things because the coverage has never been greater. You talked about the amount of participation has never been higher, amount of teams, athletes. You played this sport as a high level, but even if you think back to when you were coaching and evaluating athletes for the college level, can you give a little context to how much more opportunity, how much more exposure there is today for an athlete than maybe there was for an athlete coming up years ago, just given all the tools we have now?
Yeah. It's tenfold. I mean, if not more. It's crazy because I remember being on the junior team, and Ricardo Azevedo was my coach, and I would be sitting there amongst maybe 25 athletes participating in different age groups, where now we have, over 50 to 75 to 100 in just one age group. So the significant difference of what we're trying to do here, and then also the live feed. The live feed has been a tremendous help in evaluating our athletes of Overnght and all the things that they've been doing with our sport. Not only that, you look at the education and development process of being able to see European games. So these athletes have a wealth of opportunity for them, also for the coaches to evaluate that process. And I think we're really getting to this beginning of it. I think there's so much more that we can offer, and I'm open for suggestions. I want to give the best I can, and I want to find that diamond in the rough somewhere, maybe outside of California or in California, that deserves the opportunity as well. So hopefully we can get to a bridge where we can operate more clinics and skills and drills for those who are not just in here, but really maybe in Hawaii or Florida or Northeast.
Thinking about the athletes that'll be in an event this weekend of this caliber and playing in front of national team coaches, in front of collegiate coaches, you talked about that it's not just this 2-day event, right? They're getting seen in other ways in other places. But if you're in the mind of the athlete, or maybe the advice that you've given some of these up and comers, what should they try to accomplish at an ODP championship? Obviously, you want your team to be successful, but if they're thinking about, like, how do I put my best foot forward in front of the folks that are going to be evaluating me as a water polo player? Is there some standard message you're giving to kids?
The IQ of the sport is extremely important to those who know and can see the game inside the game. And what I mean by that is, like, if you watch a tennis match, you just watch the ball, but you see the students of the game, they literally watch the player when the ball's on the other side of the court. And I think this is very relevant to water polo is, there's a lot of fans that like, oh, my kid, scored this many amount of goals, but were those goals gifted to him because of somebody else's IQ? So the one thing I really want to challenge all players is this weekend is, like, show your knowledge of the game, show what you could do away from the ball, show how you're receiving the game when it's in space, defending space, attacking space. And then the big X factor that I think a lot of coaches want to evaluate is your posture. your competitive maturity and where you are with your character. Those things speak volume to a coach when he knows or she knows that she has to work with this athlete. Are they willing to receive information? And I think that is kind of like the X factor of what coaches are now, especially with the collegiate game, with the rosters of being so limited at 24. These coaches have to do a lot of homework, and they're starting to check the boxes of the non-tangibles, not the ones that, oh, that kid can score. No, there's got to be something more into that athlete. And those are the things that we want as national team pipeline players. When it's 8-4 at halftime against Hungary in the World Championships, can I look down the bench and say, okay, we're not done? Like, are these athletes still going to go? And, we're blessed that we pulled that game out, but you have to have those athletes that are able to do that. And that's the little things that we need.
I'm so glad you brought up Junior Worlds, and it's been such a special run for that age group, the last couple of Junior World Championships, and you've played such an important role there with the team reaching the podium. For those that are unaware of the history, right, prior to these medals, there'd never been a medal at any level of a men's world championship for Team USA. So to get bronze and then silver, these are
there's never been a medal outside of European countries.
That as well. So I shouldn't make it so much about us. You're right. Look outside of Europe entirely. Those athletes, those teams, the type of kid that can play an important role in an event like a Junior Worlds where you end up with a medal. There's different positions and skills and abilities. Is there a through line amongst all of these kids, whether they're tall or short, fast or not as fast, that all of them possess maybe a mental toughness thing, something that is outside of just the water polo skills?
Without a doubt. I have a slogan that we speak on is mentally tough teams win. And again, it doesn't matter of your physical structure. It doesn't matter of your skill sets. It matters what you can do in a most crucial pressure moment. Are you still thinking clarity? Are you still thinking as team aspects? Are you only thinking about yourself? Or are you thinking about solving the percentage of the game? And again, we go back to this, and you and I had a conversation earlier about like the trajectory of these Junior World Team players. Half the guys on my team, the last two podium stand teams, half of them weren't through the pipeline. This is their first World Championship ever. And the other half, they've had the opportunity to be at World Championships. So having that in between athletes of blossoming at different times, and I think the collegiate game is really, the college coaches are really developing these players. And again, a lot of success is because of these college coaches at these Junior Worlds. The way they do and the preparation that they give those players and athletes, then we get to benefit from that is remarkable. So guys like Luke Nelson. Let's talk about this kid. I mean, this kid he was this close to making the Junior World Team, but he did. And now I watch him play, I'm like, you are the future Olympic athlete that we're looking for. And again, just people, they mature at different times. And there's a lot more kids out there. And I guarantee there's going to be kids this weekend that I see. I'm going to go, okay, you're about 6 years away, but man, I can't wait to see you at that moment.
Now, on the other side, right, the kid that they work really hard, they love this game. It won't happen for them at the very highest end, right? Maybe they're not a junior national team or an Olympian, but we're talking about the ODP program in general, and you and I have heard this enough, right? It is an investment, right, for someone to take part in this. There is a hard cost involved to do this. For some families it's a stretch, right? But for the kid that is on that, not lower level, because it's all high levels of water polo, but what I'm getting at is, tell us about the difference made, not just for the junior national team or to the senior national teamer, but what about the kid that wasn't getting the looks from the college coach and now has that D3 coach that's reaching out or was trying to figure out their path to get off the bench for their varsity high school team, and now they've found that path. Do you have some stories, some things that come to mind for some of those athletes?
I definitely think, like you said earlier, the 1% make the World Championship teams or the Olympics in the future. But, truly about 90% of them are hopefully, I truly feel this from my experience of 30 years doing this, is most of those families and athletes are trying to get recognized by colleges. And it shows, because over 25 programs are going to be on deck sitting there the entire weekend to watch these kids. And the other thing that I think is, that's a great value in itself. And for the first time, I would probably say a lot of those kids are the first time they ever had a coach sitting on the pool deck looking at them. Granted, they've seen video or stuff like that, but a college coach wants to see with their own eyes. Like even if I send a name to a college coach is going to be, hey, when is he playing again? I want to see him, right? No matter how much I tell how great the kid is, he wants to see him for himself. And these type of events that USA Water Polo puts on is giving these kids a first-time chance. A lot of these kids don't play for premier clubs or premier high school programs that have the opportunity to be seen by college coaches frequently. So this could be the only time. So I do think that's probably the predominant reason for a lot of these kids. And I think another reason is to be coached by somebody different than what their own standards of coaching is, whether their high school program, their club program. They just want something new, or being around other great like-minded talent is also another reason I think families put their kids in something like this and see what they can achieve. And what I love about parents, and I'm a parent myself, is we feel if we put our kid in the right environment, they will reach that level of success. And I think that's another reason why some families and kids also participate in this ODP program.
Tell me a bit about, for someone who's going to try to attend this weekend or watch the live stream that maybe doesn't have a vested interest in a participant but just loves high-level water polo, how would you describe the caliber of play? What can we expect from that standpoint?
I hope to see, and I think I'm going to see a lot of fast twitch. I really want to see the ball flowing. I come up with this whole 3 passing rule attack. I want to see the game moving quick. I want to see fast breaks. I want to see an IQ thinking of 3 steps ahead. I think that's something you're going to see. I think you're going to see a lot of love in the stands. A lot of families are. This audience is remarkable on the weekends because it's really a group of athletes that are playing from different high schools in different areas, all coming together, and then they'll have to be on each other's team, right? Sometimes it's a rivalry school. So there's a lot of love going on on the deck. The coaches are there to be there for the athlete. There's no true winning championships, so the vibe is good from the coaching staffs. The vibe is good from the refs. It's a development side of it all. I hope that we see a good sportsmanship, really high level of competitive advantage for everybody. And then again, just smiles on everybody's face because everybody, play good, feel good, right? Or feel good, play good kind of concept. So hopefully that happens this weekend. I really feel confident about that.
But there's certainly pride in your area and your zone.
Oh, yeah.
Teams that come in first, even if there's not the pomp and circumstance of a JO's, there's certainly a lot of energy behind our region or our zone was able to come first.
For sure. That will always stand the test of time. I remember coaching Kimball and Max Irving. We were doing coastal zone. Gosh, this might have been 20 some years ago. And we wanted to be SOPAC so bad. And we ended up pulling out one goal win. And it was the coastal zone against SOPAC. It was great. I still remember these times. So yes, it does get competitive inside your zones, which is great. This year we're doing a little something different on the schedule side, where we're keeping the top teams playing against really competitive games, and then the middle teams playing competitive games, and then likewise the development side playing development games. Trying not to have this kind of mirroring what World Aquatic does, keeping the competition very even keel and competitive. So we're going to try that this year, and I think it's going to pay off in a lot for our athletes.
And last thing for you here, and I appreciate you taking a few minutes here in a busy week. One of the skills, right, you just hit on it, guys that don't necessarily get to play together all that often or maybe ever are now blending into a team. We've talked about these intangible skills you might bring. Describe what it is to be able to be someone that is almost like a chameleon to whatever team you're added to, and how you have a skill to maybe make others around you better.
First, I think it starts with confidence. If you don't have the confidence inside your own ability, or you haven't prepared yourself for that, you're going to be the quiet person in the pool. But you're going to see this weekend, you will see about 2 or 3 guys per team that are just going to be the most confident guys out there, and they can blend on any team. That has a lot to do with their preparation and where they put themselves. That has to do with their own self-wit and self-efficacy that they have. And I'm really excited to see those type of players, because they're not only the ones that can set, they can post up, they can shoot outside, they're directing the defense, and they're very vocal in that aspect. So that really stands out. I want to encourage anybody that might be listening that's playing this weekend is have courageous. Be courageous when you're playing. Don't be shy. You want to fail in this moment. You want to take that shot. You want to take that pass. You want to really challenge yourself, and don't just sit back and go, well, I wish I would have done that a little differently. This is the moment that you get the chance to do something, so do it. I always strongly believe that you must be moving somewhere. Whether you're helping this direction, that direction, or this direction, you should never be sitting in our sport. You're not a participant. I mean, you're a participant, not a spectator in the sport. So let's do that this weekend so I can see a lot of whitewater around you.
Love it, love it. Jack Kocur, thanks for the time, and good luck this weekend to you and all the staff making this happen.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate the time.
Once again, big thanks to Jack for joining us. Don't forget, in a couple of weeks, we'll have the ODP Girls National Championship. They're headed to Tri-Valley, California. That's in the East Bay of NorCal. We'll have a preview leading into that championship event as well, right here on the Counterattack. Now let's talk Malmston Goal of the Week. More close calls in women's college water polo down to Tempe, Cal, Arizona State. The Bears get the win, courtesy of Abby McGee.
10 left to go. Here come the Golden Bears. Bonaguidi has it right wing. Bonaguidi will pass.
3 seconds left.
McGee scores! Bonaguidi turns down the shot, and McGee puts it in the left side of the net. 1 second to go. Cal has basically put the dagger in the Devils.
Wow. McGee. Look at that.
Great replay, and the Golden Bears go crazy.
Don't forget, share what you're seeing online. Love to show some of your favorite highlights, goals, blocks, saves, field blocks right here on the Counterattack. Send us a DM, tag us at USAWP. You can also send something Overnight's way at ON Water Polo on Instagram. Now, what's coming up next? Well, you know all about ODP this month. Boys National Championships this weekend in the San Diego area. A couple of weeks later, we've got not just ODP Girls National Championships, but also National League. Week 3, it's back on tap in Southern California as we are marching towards the postseason in the NL. So a busy month of water polo. And then come April, NCAA Women's Water Polo Championships in San Diego. Big year for San Diego. We'll have that live on ncaa.com and ESPNU, the final on April 26th on the U. So a lot of great water polo on the way. Looking forward to bringing you all the great results right here on the Counterattack. That'll do it for this week's show. Thanks so much for joining us. And don't forget, when you're on the Counterattack, look weak side.